Alright, so yeah, Sao Paulo. I'm walking down the pedestrian mall. And then I look over to my left and I see this black guy just sitting down with his back up against the wall, like holding his stomach, like crying, like, ah! And I see there's this hole like this big in his stomach. And like his whole side is covered in blood. You know, all of his pants are drenched in blood, and there's like a stream of blood coming out from it. It looks like he's dying. And like nobody was like paying attention to him. I didn't see any friends around him. I didn't see any perpetrator. I didn't see any people trying to get help. I was just this guy sitting there screaming like with a hole in his chest, dying. It's really weird. So then I walked by and I went and got a hotel, which was near there. It was like where the cheap hotels are, even though it was, it was in a really seedy part of town. But I was just kind of a penny pincher, so I got a hotel. But it was cool on the second level. And then it kind of got dark, and I was walking down, and I got something to eat, and I was walking down the road, and I walk by this place, and there's this girl who's outside of it, and she goes, "Hey, come in the titty bar. This is the titty, like the strip club. Come on in, come on in. I'll take care of you," or something. So I was like, well, you know what? I've never been into a strip club before. I did it once when I was in El Paso, but I didn't even do anything like that when I was in Bangkok for some reason. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it, man. This is Brazil. So I go in there, and I guess the way they do it is they give you these big 40 beers, bottles of beer, and they'll just keep a tab for you, so you don't pay for it each time you get the bottle, which actually I should have done because they ended up ripping me off big time. But I get there and I sit down next to this other Brazilian guy, and we see these girls. Like the first girl comes out, and I think she does her dance, but she was like fat. She wasn't that hot. And then she comes over to me and like, she's bringing me my beers, and then she even gives me this lap dance, but like, she's just like not good at it, and I was like, oh. And like, I guess there was this other guy next to me, and it looked like he was having a really good time. But he kept saying to me like, hey, I'm just here. I never come here. I'm just like, was kind of like justifying being there or something. Like he never does that kind of a thing or something like that. Like, and then he doesn't really. He was just a funny guy. He was just like, hey. And like Brazilians, like in Brazil, I had no problem communicating with them. Portuguese, I had found, is pretty much the same language as Spanish. I don't understand everything that they say, but I understand enough, and I can speak Spanish, and they pretty much understand enough what I say. And it's the same with Italian. I think Italian is even more similar than Portuguese is. Like, because I was hanging out with some Italians later on in Salvador. And I got like understood everything they said. They talked to me in Italian, I understood it all. And I talked in Spanish, I understand everything. So, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish are the same freaking language, just different vocabulary and a little bit different grammar. But and French is different. Like if a French person spoke really slowly to me, I would understand basic stuff. But I guess you could officially say it's a different language. But and I guess Romanian is a Romance language too. That'd be interesting to try to learn that language. But yeah, so I'm in this bar, and like all these girls come out, like girls after girls, and dancing is awesome. They're really hot. Like there was this one girl she had like the schoolgirl look, like these square glasses with like the little Catholic girl dress on, and she was really hot. And she's like sits down next to me, I guess, afterwards, and I'm like, oh yeah, you look smart. And she's like, what's that supposed to mean? She was kind of grumpy. And then this like black girl comes out. It was like the hottest girl I've ever seen in my life. Oh yeah, but like I get like really drunk. I had all these. I paid my tab after like a few beers, and then like I ran out of money. I only had like I don't remember how much, but like I was having so much fun that I like left and I went back to my hotel room to get a little bit more money, and then I came back and I spent all of it. And then I went back to my hotel room to get more money because I was having fun. So I'd gone back twice to get more money. And then I come back, and so I'm like, and then I get more beers until I get just like completely wasted. And like, there's this black girl that comes out, and she's dancing. And she had like really, really hot, like the hottest girl I've ever seen in my life, like perfect body, everything. And like, and then, but like by then I had started to ignore the first girl who brought me in, who was fat, and so she started to get really pissed off at me. Like Brazilians are like that. Like they'll snap and get like really, they'll be like really happy and bouncing off the walls, but then they'll get like really pissed off. And so she's like giving me the like looking at me like she wants to tear my throat out. And but then like next thing I know, this black girl's sitting right next to me. So I was so drunk. I just turned to her and I'm like, "You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna marry you. I'm gonna live here, teaching us here. I'm gonna marry you." And but she was like really charming and she was eating it all up. She was loving it. Um, but then it turned out that she was a prostitute, and so she was gonna like do me for $20. So I was like, "Yeah." So I get up and I leave. I'm like gonna leave with her, you know, and I wanted to pay, but they didn't want to let me leave because they said that I owed them like all this money for all these beers that I didn't drink. I mean, if I had drinking that many beers, I would have been dead. So I paid them all that I had, but they said I still owed them like another $20 or something like that. I can't remember, but I was like, I don't have it, man. I'll just have to go back to my hotel room and bring it back to you. And then like right now, like the bouncer, the bartender or something, he's like all pissed off at me, like looking at me like I'm the devil. And that other girl's like really pissed off at me. But anyways, they let me leave with this black girl, and of course I didn't go back to pay them their money because they had been probably ripped me off a lot anyways. But man, yeah. So this girl like spends the night with me, and then we leave the next day. And I should have, man, I don't know what I was thinking, but I should have like stayed in Sao Paulo for like a week with that girl because she was so hot. But I didn't. I went down into, and she was really sweet too. But anyways, I went down into Rio the next day, and it was like 3 weeks before Carnival, and I wanted to do Carnival in Rio because it was like I always equated Carnival with Rio, so I wanted to do Carnival in Rio. And so yeah, I spent like 3 weeks in Rio. I get there and I got a hotel room, but yeah, Rio is like, man, our Brazilians are really really intense though and really like aggressive. And it wasn't really my idea of a good time. I didn't really have as much fun there as I thought I would. Like maybe if that was the only country I was fresh traveling, it would have been more fun. But it just got really grumpy. Like I get out of the bus and some taxi guy he's like, "Oh hey, what's up? I'll take you to a cool hotel room." And so I walk across the street with him, and then I go, "You know what? The hotel room you're describing, it sounds kind of expensive. I know of another hotel room. And I already actually know how to get there with a bus, so thanks anyways." And he totally freaks out on me and like starts telling me that I'm a bad person, and he's like screaming at me. And um, anyways, I get on a bus and they have different buses there, different style. Like I could tell that Rio, it definitely was a lot seedier than Buenos Aires or Argentina or Uruguay or Chile, because you have to pay and then you have to go through this like revolver thing, like to make it so that people couldn't just jump in the bus and just jump on without paying. But even then, I saw a bunch of kids jump on the bus from the window, from the back part of the window, and the bus driver didn't do anything. And I got a hotel room, like a cheap hotel room right outside the downtown. And I did all the passes, all the steps, all the things you do there. Take the what's it called? the thing that the gondola thing to the top of the rock. And that was really pretty. That's it. That was in the James Bond movie Moonraker. That was pretty. And then went down to the beach to what's it called? I can't remember. Not Ipanema Beach, but the beach north of it, where all the tourists are. Ipanema Beach was kind of deserted. I guess it was like dangerous or something, but there's people everywhere. And I did some boogie. Oh, whoops, out of time.